We've been talking about the importance of church, the ecclesia, the community of believers, the body of Christ, the bride of Christ. And recently I read an article by Dr. John Boos called Yes, Christian, You Need the Church. And over the next couple of days, I want to talk about some basic reasons for the church. Well, we will see that the early church was a worshiping church. That church is not entertainment or performance, but it was all about worship. Yesterday I read Acts chapter 2, and I talked about how we saw the early church was devoted to the apostles' teaching, to prayer, to fellowship, to sharing meals, including the Lord's Supper. And we see that that's part of the church, that we need those things in our life. We see that gathering together was Jesus' idea, not ours. He knows the importance of us not living life in isolation. We need church for spiritual development. The church should help us, and we should help each other grow spiritually to become more like Christ. We see that the church is needed for missions. The church is God's vehicle for spreading the good news. Yesterday we talked about the Great Commission of going to all of the places around the world so that they could hear the good news of Jesus Christ. Not just here in our city, not just here in the United States, but around the world. And God uses the church as his vehicle for spreading the good news. Well, we see that we need the church for spiritual leadership and accountability. And God has equipped elders and pastors to help us grow in our faith, to help us grow spiritually, and that we're not to go about this alone. We need the church because it gives an opportunity to make an eternal impact. Have you ever thought by you just making a simple invite to join a community of believers how it could change their life forever? By simply having a conversation, by sitting with someone, by serving in the community of believers. Maybe that's with our children, maybe that's with our teens. You just never know by being a part of a community of believers of how you're making an eternal impact. The church is far from perfect. I'll be the first to tell you it's broken in many ways, but it's the bride of Christ. Would you pray for CHCC today? Would you pray for churches, every church that you can think of? I'll see you tomorrow.